Hey guys, what's going on? This is Dan, and this is part 5 of my RNG Hell series. I started the series with part 4 earlier, but previous videos had also fallen under that category. But in all seriousness, I'm back with the MDL this week. I am going up against Noah, and you can see the teams on the field right here. I think Zamazenta looks really good, and he doesn't have Cradley, so I think Primarina really goes in this matchup as well. Sableye lead seems generally correct, and then Stoutland is very annoying in the background. So that's going to be the team for Game 1, and we're just going to hop straight into that. So there are a couple Pokemon I'm very nervous about. They're Gyarados and Alchemy. For the most part, I think my team handles everything else pretty well. So I'm not super upset about this matchup, but I do think those two can provide me some issues, especially if it's Intimidate Gyarados, and then Choice Scarf Alchemy actually has the ability to speed tie with the Zamazenta set that I have, but a big Alchemy can also do some major damage into my team if the Silvally isn't on the field to start Quake boosting. Speaking of Silvally and Quakes, if you see me click Max Strike with Silvally, it's off of multi-attack, so it becomes Max Quake. However, some calculators have it wrong and have it calculated as a base 140 attack. Silvally's max multi-attack actually is base 95. I'll tell you when that becomes relevant, but it does throw off one calc this game, but I don't think that was a huge amount for me. So he's just going to go ahead and lead with the Porygon and the Excadrill. So I have two thoughts here. One is this Primarina will always one-shot this Excadrill, unless the Excadrill gets a Quake boost up. Two is, if he's got Excadrill on the field, I'm generally okay if Trick Room goes up. So I kind of want to just Geyser, and then I'll also quash this Excadrill to make sure it doesn't get a Quake boost up, and just try to take it out right away. And then if Trick Room goes up and he sends out Marowak, and in Max, I'll live a Max Phantasm and just KO back. It doesn't feel like the worst thing for me because I've got the Stoutland in the back and I can just start cycling Intimidate on him. So his Trick Room mode doesn't scare me, so I'm very okay with this. So Primarina's coming out for Max. My other option here was to fake out the Porygon 2 if I was scared of Trick Room, but I actually kind of want him to put up Trick Room in this situation because I can also just quash the Marowak and that'll have a bad day. So that doesn't max, so fake out play was probably better, but I do just get a Max Geyser off, nice and free, and I do force this thing to reveal its Sash. So it surviving is a little annoying, but I get some rain up, I'll be able to do some nice bonus damage. But here we see that he goes for Eerie Impulse instead of Trick Room, which I think is an interesting choice. It does sort of neuter my Max a little bit. But this Excadrill is still pretty powerful, won't take out the Sableye, but puts it in range of basically everything because Sableye has paper defenses. Here I do want to just figure out what his bulk is on his Porygon, so I'm just going to Rain Dance it. And then I'm trying to think what are some, I'm just going to Max Geyser it in the rain. If I do more than 50%, it doesn't really have requisite bulk, even at -2. But if I do less than 50%, then I'd struggle to pick up the Oko on it in the rain from neutral, which there are Porygon builds that could fall both ways. I expect it to be more physically bulky based on my team, but he might have enough special bulk, so this calc is going to be decent for me to know. And then I just decided to switch the Sableye out because there's nothing I really want to click this turn. I guess I could Will-O-Wisp the Excadrill to kill it, but it doesn't super scare me, and I think there's a chance that it switches out. So my defense goes up, Iron Head comes out, And man, that crit is annoying, because now Zamazenta's in range of everything. And again, I don't really care if Trick Room goes up here, but I will also get a crit and take out the Porygon too. So that crit definitely mattered. I don't get to learn my calcs. But if he was going for Trick Room, I'm sort of okay with it in this situation, because I cycle Zamazenta out for whatever threat he has. But here, I'm suddenly in a situation where Zamazenta's in range of everything, whereas it should be surviving most things, but it's just not going to in this situation. Then out comes the Gyarados. So, I have two thoughts here. One, I kind of want to counteract a max Airstream that's going to come into this Zamazenta. So I'm going to max strike the Excadrill, because that will affect the speed. But I also know that if he switches into Marowak, it does nothing. I also think he might switch into Marowak because I don't want to Wild Charge into a Marowak and then just eat a max Airstream and be super dead to everything. So potentially a max Geyser into that spot is better if I want to hard call that switch. But also if he doesn't switch and he just gets off a max Airstream, I guess there's no major downside there, except if he doesn't switch, gets off a max Airstream, then the Gyarados will be faster than my entire team, and I'm a little nervous because that's a Moxie Gyarados because Intimidate didn't go off. So Gyarados does come on out and max. And it's a big fish. It's probably going to launch a max Airstream into the... yeah, right there. It's not going to do too much at -1. But the Marowak is going to get faster, and then this Max Strike is going to connect with nothing. So Max Geyser was probably better there, thinking that I wanted to hard read that switch. But even so, I think I'm in a decent position here, because I'm going to be able to cycle through some things, get Primarina in a decent position to take out this Marowak late game, and then I will... functionally just let Zamazenta sweep. So that's the plan, at least. To effectively operate that plan, I need to start really crippling his Pokemon, so I'm just going to start Baby Dolls eyeing everything. So I'll sack Sableye here, and then I'll start functionally getting more damage up on other things. If he doesn't kill Sableye here, and I have the opportunity to burn the Gyarados, I can start Baby Doll eyeing the Marowak, and I'll be very safe if the Gyarados is burned. So Primarina comes back. Sableye comes on out. Baby Doll Eyes comes out. One part of the crit earlier onto my team that's really annoying is that Zamazenta isn't a free switch in here, even though it really should be based on damage calcs. But now, unfortunately, at +2, being able to get to +2, that Marrow is going to outspeed my Primarina. Poltergeist, he does see my wide lens with Poltergeist. It connects. Sableye goes down. Now I have to decide, do I want to switch in Zamazenta or do I want to switch in Primarina here? Again, the Zamazenta switch is much less free than it should be. Even though Zamazenta doesn't do anything with this Marrow on the field particularly well. So here, what I want to do is protect and start crippling this Marowak as well. And the most effective way for me to do that, I'm just going to go for a Hyper Voice first, because I believe there's a chance that he can't double target me because he's been effectively double targeting the Stoutland, which should allow me to get off an additional Baby Doll Eyes into this Marrow slot. At this range, if he double targets me with Poltergeist and Power Whip, or with Poltergeist and Max Overgrow, there's a chance I go down. But I also think he wants to keep Max Airstreaming, in which case there's a very good chance that I survive. So here it's just go for Baby Doll Eyes, but he does protect that slot, so I'm just going to get a little bit of chip on this Gyarados. Airstream comes on out. He did target the Stoutland, so my ideas about his targeting are generally correct. So here I have two options. One is to protect Primarina and switch into Zamazenta and try to put a coaching boost on it, but this Gyarados is going to outspeed the Zamazenta, so that's not going to be super important. I could also protect Switch and try to get an Intimidate off onto both of them, but by switching back the next turn. But an easier way to do that seems like I could just protect and Baby Doll's Eyes once and then Baby Doll Eyes another turn. It just seems a bit more consistent. So I'm going to protect the Primarina, and then I will Baby Doll Eyes the Marrow. So I get my Protect off. So he does reveal that he's going for Power Whip and Poltergeist, and he did double target the Primarina. Okay, so here, depending on the Gyarados set, because it is Moxie, I think there's a chance that it's a faster set, maybe not fully invested. I could survive this with one more Baby Doll's Eyes. I think that's most likely based on the damage rolls on the Stoutland, so I am just going to go for a Baby Doll Eyes and a Hyper Voice. It's not the safest play in the world, but he also has to connect with both things, which isn't the most likely thing in the world. So I am very okay with this play, because I bet my assumption is that this Gyarados has a decent amount of bulk invested into it. And there's also a chance that it's Jolly. So this will put it to -3, allow me to definitely eat this hit, and then I'll be fine if one of these misses or if they're not fully invested. However, he does just crit through -3. So looking at his paste afterwards, this wouldn't have mattered if both of these moves connect, which is, you know, a 70-some-odd% chance. So I'm not super tilted about that one. Still, the one on Zamazenta that made Zamazenta unable to switch in freely seemed much more impactful to me than that crit, but that crit is just the most visually tilting one overall. So here, Zamazenta can't do anything because Wild Charge, if that is a Lightning Rod one, isn't going to work. However, he hasn't used the recoil move yet, so I don't know if he's the no recoil set, and there is a small chance that he went with that over Lightning Rod. So part of me just wants to test it, and I don't test it this turn, I believe. Maybe I do, but I just want to see, like, okay, let's make sure you're Lightning Rod. Because if you're not Lightning Rod, then I've still got a shot in this game by going for some late game snarling shenanigans and trying to outbulk this Marrow, like, in deep water. So I think what I do here is just snarl the Marrow to see how much it does. And he does double target the Zamazenta, so I do get a little bit of free chip out. And I'm not doing a lot to this Marowak, so if I'm going to take him into late game stupidity, it's going to be, I'm going to need a KO first on this Gyarados. So, I think close combat with Gyarados isn't the worst play in the world because I can get some chip on it, but honestly, it's not going to die, and I need to see if this thing is Lightning Rod. This will inform my decisions a lot more in future games, and then I can just go for a, what do I go for here? A Baby Doll Lies probably to further neuter the Zuko and see if I can take him into deep water and maybe beat him if he starts going for Flare Blitzes. Waterfall comes on out. But I do see that it is Lightning Rod. Okay, so I will lose this game. This has been a sort of marathon game 1. So I will let this game play out, grab a drink of water, and I will be right back here for game 2 as you can watch the rest of this game play out. So, moving into game 2, I really didn't feel like my plan went that awry. It was just that crit, especially on the Zamazenta, that stopped me from pivoting. But based on what he's doing, the Kyurem sets really don't seem bad at all. Primarina sets don't seem bad. Zamazenta lead seems pretty actively good. Stoutland absolutely has to come. Like, that thing's going to put in work again. And then I have to decide what do I think in the back is going to do well. And honestly, all three of these have arguments, but I am going to go with the Silvally because I think he pivots into a more alchemy-based thing, and getting some Quake boosts is going to be very nice for my team. It also gives me something additionally to threaten everything on his team. It does hit everything super effectively except the Porygon 2. So late game, I think it's got a lot of potential. So yeah, let's dive into this battle. He does lead with the Excadrill and the Alchemy. So here, I'm trying to figure out what I expect him to do. If he maxes Alchemy, I'm not going to have a great day and just go straight into Zamazenta because I'm thinking about close combating this Excadrill. But I think he might be some sort of Scarf Decorate set, in which case maxing that and maxing Excadrill, or even not maxing Excadrill, just hitting back with Excadrill would be very frustrating because Excadrill survives at least one hit. So I don't want him to get the Decorate off, so I'm just going to close combat, and then I'll put that Excadrill in instant death range to everything. Another argument could be to just switch out the Zamazenta and Will-O-Wisp the Excadrill, which is something else I do strongly consider. But this is the play I end up going with. Let's just get the Excadrill to its sash, and I can deal with any late game ramifications of that in case he does just switch in a T-Tar and max it. So Marrow comes out. I'm fine with that. Fake Out won't do anything into it, but I will close combat the Excadrill, take it to the sash, and let's see what it hits. No, it goes for Sword Stance. Okay, this is very fine. Because here I can swap out the Zamazenta, I can Will-O-Wisp, and I've got a wide lens on, so it's a 93% accurate Will-O-Wisp, into the Excadrill and kill it. I consider Rain Dancing and killing it with Zamazenta, but I don't want to close combat and then eat a max move into Zamazenta, because at -1, Zamazenta doesn't eat max moves very well. So I'm just going to Will-O-Wisp. The play I end up making is I do very much consider that Rain Dance play, but the play I do end up making is we're going to Will-O-Wisp the drill 93% accurately, and then we're just going to protect the Zamazenta in case of a max attack. And then this will give me some knowledge on what it is he's doing. It won't let this Excadrill do anything major. Even if it takes out the Sableye, that's fine. That's a free switch for me, and I don't think he maxes it to go up to 2 HP. And even if he does, it's not going to end great for him. But I see this maxing, I'm like, man. But it is the Marowak. So I am very, very okay with the Marowak maxing. Because I have just the ability to completely neuter it with the Stoutland. So here I should just kill it, but it avoids the 93 accurate Will-O-Wisp, and Iron Heads back and kills the Sableye. So this turn was almost perfect, but that happens. Sableye dies, and now Zamazenta takes a decent chunk. And now there's just a +2 Excadrill sitting on the field that I can't kill this turn super effectively. So I'm in a decent world of trouble. This next turn is where the Calc comes in. I think this Max Quake, if I get to +1, has a shot to Oko a Marowak, but it doesn't because its max move power drops to 95, not goes up to 140 like the Calc I was using said. But either way, I still think that this is a reasonable play to make. Another argument could be to max Iron Head into the Excadrill slot in that position to get another defense boost. But Silvally comes on out. And here I do just want to coaching Max Quake. Let's threaten this Marowak. Maybe pick up an Oko. Of course, obviously it doesn't actually, but this is a Max Quake, not a Max Strike. So talking with a couple other people, Silvally's move should show the type that it is instead of normal. Like, it makes sense for Weather Ball and Terrain Pulse because the weather and terrain can change throughout a match, but you can't knock off a ground memory or any of the other memories, so Silvally will always have the same set of moves. Just a little bit of personal irritation, I guess. Alright, out is coming the Max Silvally. So we're just gonna bulk this thing all the way out. Because with the coaching, it'll get a +1 defense, and nothing on this team is going to be super threatening into it. Quake comes on out, doesn't come close to picking up the KO, but it does put it in range of everything. My special defense goes up, which is good because I know he's got Alchemy and Porygon 2 in the back. And that Iron Head does a very decent chunk, and then this Max Phantasm comes out and picks up the KO. I'm a little shocked that it picks up that KO. I thought that even at neutral there was a chance that I lived it, but Marowak strong. That's why I was saying Max Steel Spike into the Excadrill could have been the play there. But now Stoutland comes on out. I basically here have to pick one thing to kill, and then the other to effectively neuter. Looking at what the Excadrill did with Silvally, I think that this Marowak has the potential to do more overall damage. So I do just want to Max Quake again. And again, this is to set me up a late game against the Alchemy. And then I am considering both Baby Doll Eyes and Snarl. Snarl to pick up a nice double KO. Baby Doll Eyes to reduce the damage that it puts out. And I think what I need to do is get myself into a 2v2 while I still have 1 turn of max left, because I feel like I'm at a bit of a disadvantage here. So we're going to Quake and Snarl. So these guys are going to be very bulky for late game Alchemy. And I feel decent about my position here. Like, obviously not great. And then this Iron Head comes on out, and that was a lot of damage. Like, I thought at -1 it would be doing substantially less than that, considering, or I thought at +1 it would do substantially less than that, considering what it did at +2 earlier. But looking here, I'm running some calcs, and because I don't know the special bulk on this P2 this turn is really hard. I could max Steel Spike, KO the Alchemy, and then just try to beat the P2 late game with, you know, a combination of Snarls and everything. But if Trick Room goes up, and if he protects Alchemy and Trick Room goes up, I'm in a really rough situation. And I'm thinking, what would I do in his spot? It's the Protect Alchemy, set Trick Room play. So with that in mind, I decide I want to instead go for the KO into the P2 with the Superpower and the Max Quake. +1 Max Quake plus Superpower, I think, has a decent shot of picking up the KO. Like, that doesn't do nearly as much damage as I think it would. So I see that this is now really physically bulky, so I'm probably not going to pick up this KO, and he didn't protect. So, all in all, very bad turn for me. Superpower comes out and doesn't quite get there. So he is going to be able to set the Trick Room, and the Alchemy didn't protect. So Max Steel Spike into the Alchemy, in retrospect, absolutely the play there. Seeing that it doesn't kill the P2, but I thought it might have a chance to, so that's why I went for it. Because again, if I go into the Alchemy, it protects, and he sets Trick Room, I lose. Basically, if Alchemy is alive under Trick Room, I lose, and I just had to call whether or not it was protecting, and I called it wrong. So here, my out is this thing not having Recover, and Alchemy thinking I'm going to protect. Not a great out. And I don't hit it because he does have Recover here. There's a world where if I get a crit on the Stoutland, then I've got a shot, but the Alchemy has Dazzling Gleam, and it picks up a double. I actually thought there's a shot Silvally might survive that, but that crit on Stoutland will absolutely ice the game, even if I do get a crit here on the P2. So the Superpower comes on out, I don't crit, and that'll be game. So good games to Noah. Like I said, I had a bit of bad luck when it came to crits, and especially that Will-O-Wisp miss, which just let that Excadrill sit on the field instead of sending out one of these two into a disadvantageous position. And then late game, I called whether or not there would be the Alchemy would protect incorrectly. So I could have played a bit better with some of my calls, but I had a bit of bad luck as well. But as always, the MDL is a very fun, very competitive league, and I'll be looking to get back on track next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a nice one. Bye.